Hey, I'm Mac. Welcome back to my channel. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and consider joining my Patreon for access to new videos told 24 hours early, as well as some Patreon exclusive content. So this is going to be a real treat. This is what's known as a social guidance film from the company Centron. It says it's presented by the McGraw-Hill Book Company, a massive textbook publisher, among other things. Don't ever let anyone say that America doesn't have propaganda, because this was a very huge genre that originally started in the 1940s. Originally, social guidance films were produced by the US government as a way to shore up the morale for World War II, and then later the Korean War, and then the Vietnam War. But then they gradually started being produced by private companies like Centron or Coronet Films, and they would be shown in classrooms or other types of similar settings to usually young people, although there were some that were later made for adults. And they're just a very interesting window into both some of the attitudes at the time, some of the taboos at the time, and perhaps what sort of attitudes and behaviors those in power wanted to encourage to develop. And it's just, they're very weird sometimes. And I think this is a particularly entertaining one. This one is titled, What About School Spirit? And just buckle in, because I guarantee you there's going to be a couple of twists that you were not ready for. And I guess I just wanted to do this because it's very interesting, in my opinion, to examine propaganda. And it also is just, it kind of begs for snarking. And so that's what I like to do. So we're going to be traveling back to 1958 in the United States. All right. So buckle in and let's go.
This is the famous hangout, the place where Lawrence High plots the downfall of every other school.
This is it. Think you dare to come in?
I don't know. I am from Westport High, you know.
I'll tell it.
Oh, well, you literal trash heap. I guess I'll still accompany you inside. You know, when you're just talking to someone from a school that you apparently don't go to, and you're just like, oh, so is this where you guys hang out and plot the downfall of the rest of us? Also, another interesting thing, a lot of the clothes that they're wearing are like gonna be weirdly in style right now.
You came from Mars.
Yeah, because Mars would be less weird. I'm gonna guess that he sees something he likes, and he's not very good at turning around in a natural manner. It's just like turn around unnaturally and done. Oh boy, gee willikers. He walked like an old man.
Her name, Jim, her name.
Down, boy. She's my cousin. Sally Barber, Tom Morgan.
Your cousin? Oh, this is too good to be true.
My cousin, and I haven't seen her for a long time, so go away. Let us rattle the family skeletons in peace.
Oh, Jim, if I had
Yeah, go away. This guy is rude.
a cousin, I'd want her to meet interesting people.
You
She hasn't met any yet.
had a cousin like this, you'd do just what I'm doing. You'd protect her.
She seems like she's holding her own quite nicely, man. So why don't you just, besides, you should have said, well, there aren't any here.
So goodbye.
All right. Spoiled sport.
Oh, spoil sport.
This is a nice place, Jimmy. Even the wolves are nice.
Girl. You see, you can tell it's like the 1950s here because a guy aggressively comes over to hit on her, is like practically touching her already, and then repeatedly won't go away, even with another man there. And she's like, gee, the men sure are nice here. God damn it.
Why the armband?
Oh, they're from the high school service club. Been out ringing doorbells. We're trying to boost United Fund over the top.
You would think that like 13 years after defeating the Nazis, you would not be so gung-ho on armbands. But apparently in this town, they are. And I'm going to assume that ringing doorbells is not like slang that we're not getting.
I got everyone in my block signed up early this afternoon.
God, it sounds like an MLM.
You spent your Saturday working for the United Fund.
Wow. It's like, I mean, it's blowing her mind.
If it were anyone but you kids from Lawrence, I wouldn't believe it.
Aren't you also a kid?
That's pretty wonderful, you know it?
Well, actually,
Yeah, that's why I'm bragging about it right now.
we had a lot of fun doing it. I guess the town needs United Fund on.
Oh boy, 7-Up. I wonder, 7-Up had to have paid for this, right? It's an American propaganda film, okay? So, there's product placement. That was such a weirdly, so it had to be that 7-Up paid for that because that was such a weirdly long pause there. Although you couldn't really see the 7-Up branding that easily. You could miss it pretty quickly. I guess maybe the standards were not as high as they are now for what constitutes an acceptable product placement.
You've really got it here at Lawrence.
All right, settle down. You kind of got a weird thing with this school, ma'am. Your cousin's weird.
Really got what?
Maybe you'll think I'm kind of corny, but...
Oh, I already think you're kind of corny.
Well, you've really got the right kind of school spirit. Golly, I wish the kids at
Golly.
Westport had a small idea of some of the things Lawrence has done.
Maybe they just don't like you because you seem like kind of a stuck-up little, rude person.
What's wrong with Westport? You've got school spirit. I can remember how you all came down here for the football game.
What happened at the football game?
Man, I never saw so much.
Spirit?
So much what? I think they're being vague on purpose here.
Sure. We've got a sort of school spirit. But here it's different. Your school spirit seems to be working in everything you do. It doesn't make any difference if it's sports or debate or competition for a scholarship.
That probably means that your school's not very good at sports then. It's probably just because they don't have a good football team. Otherwise, no one would give a shit.
We know that Lawrence High is always going to be the hardest to beat. And every student body in the state feels the same way. You're not a big school. That can't be the reason you're always on top.
Well, it's probably because from what I've seen here, it's an all-white school with very affluent residents, because in the United States, okay, schools generally, for the most part, are funded by property taxes. And so if you have a lot of people who own homes, who have enough money to own a home because for example, perhaps they were able to secure a home loan through a GI Bill that when they came back from World War II, those home loans that were extended to white families, but not black families, even though they served like the same tour of duty and everything and were equally qualified and were supposed to be entitled to it, but they didn't get it. Those families, those home loans. So if you have a lot of people who own homes and they're expensive homes and pay a lot of property taxes, your school is going to have more funding. I mean, listen, sister, you act like you're all smart and everything, but you haven't really figured this out. Schools that have more money do better. It's funny how that works.
So why are you?
I just explained it to you. You don't listen.
Gosh, it's hard to say. But if you ask me, I'd say Bob Corby had a lot to do with it.
No, I'm pretty sure it's money. But let's find out who this guy is.
Bob Corby? I don't remember Bob Corby.
Sure you do.
Jeez. Don't gaslight her.
He was president of the senior class in all state the year we were freshmen.
Oh, that Bob Corby.
Oh, I was just saying I didn't remember him so that you would have an excuse to exposit to the audience that we don't know exists.
But he's been...
Yes. He's been gone from Lawrence High a long time.
Ominous, but ambiguous.
But he left his mark. I can remember a little bit of what it was like before his time.
Listen, Sally, I think your cousin was I think him and this Bob Corby, I think they might have been an item or something.
We had then what everybody thinks of as school spirit. A pep club, cheerleaders, and
Boy, those are some long skirts.
plenty of noise.
They look cute though. See what I mean about it being weirdly back in style? Okay. Back in the 90s or the early 2000s, those uniforms would have been so weird to see with the short shorts and everything, but now that's the look again. In the 90s, you needed your shorts to be as big as possible and preferably down to your calf. It was a weird time.
Whenever we won, we really cut loose. Snake dances, snarling up traffic.
I don't know what a snake dance is, but I kind of want to find out.
And racing up and down streets, blaring car horns, and yelling. It's certain the townspeople didn't get much sleep.
Yeah, seems like you were, shitheads as high schoolers tend to be. And see, they owned cars too. So their family had cars for them to drive around and be shitheads with. So yeah, it's because your school had money. That's what it is. That's the answer. It's not Bob. Bob, you just had a crush on.
And it's a wonder somebody didn't get killed. Sometimes noise wasn't enough. Sometimes it was kid stuff, such as painting the school initials in places where they had no business to be.
Okay, let me get this straight. You go out to create some graffiti, and you put the school initials. You're supposed to put your own initials, I think.
If we'd had any sense, we'd have known all this carrying on was a discredit to the school.
Yeah, I mean, look at the typography here. It's not very good. What's with this S? It almost looks like a swastika, and also it's a completely different size from the other two letters. You guys are not very good at this. Do you not have an art department? You have to have an art department. You're a very wealthy school, I can tell.
And then let's see. Yes, it was still my freshman year. We had a pep assembly.
Listen, Sally, I'm telling you right now, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why he's always on top. It's because Bob Corby, I'm pretty sure, was his bottom. I'm pretty sure they had a thing going on. So, like, let's try to be sensitive here.
It wasn't an unusual assembly. Some band music and some yells, the members of the team talking to the student body. But, well, I remember what Bob Corby said when it was his turn.
And now we'll have a few words from our team captain, Bob Corby.
It's pretty weird seeing a young man named Bob who goes by Bob. I'm gonna assume his name's probably Robert.
I'm not much of a speaker, so I guess about all I can do is tell you what I think and how the boys on the team feel about some things.
I mean, that's basically all we're looking for from you, so why don't you get on with it? Because you seem, determined to talk. He's not bad looking. Wait, he's a high schooler though. I'm just saying he looks nice. Like, not like, ooh, I want to get on that. Settle down. Also, I'm pretty sure the actor is not in high school.
The first thing I think is if we took a vote right here and now, well, it'd probably be unanimous in favor of the basketball team not making speeches in assembly.
All right, well then sounds like you should sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up then so that we can go back to having a free period.
But no kidding.
Okay, see, they applauded, so why don't you just get out, go home.
But no kidding. You probably don't realize it, and I don't know just how to say it.
Well, you're not off to a good start here.
But all of you out there mean more to the basketball team than any one of us who play on it.
How? Are you saying that, like, if all of you decided to just never go out onto the court and just continue your orgy in the locker room, then you'd still win the game? Because I don't think that's how you win.
We spend a lot of time practicing and a lot of time learning the plays. And sometimes, well, we get to thinking we're pretty good. But when the day of the game rolls around, well, our insides get shaky.
Sally's cousin.
And we begin to wonder if we're really going to be any competition for the other team.
Sounds like that's never in doubt.
If it weren't for all of you and the way you feel about Lawrence High School,
the outcome would be exactly the same.
We'd be just another basketball team.
Excuse me? High school basketball team captain? You are just another basketball team, whether you win the state championship or not, okay? You're in high school, get over yourself. Settle down.
You can feel that spirit right now.
Nope.
Right here in this assembly.
Yeah. Powerful emotions are always felt right here in this assembly. Like, yeah, I have a powerful emotion that I want to leave.
We're all for Lawrence. We're all for the team.
No.
We want to try to do well and try to win everything that the school does.
Hey, do or do not, there is no try.
That kind of spirit, I don't see how we can lose.
Okay, well, it's very simple. If the other team scores more points than you, for example, if they throw the ball through the hoop more times than you throw the ball through the hoop, that means that you lose. So that's how you lose. Now, I was going to say that perhaps they could, score some 3-point shots, but I realized that had not been added to basketball yet. That speech was terrible. This is the speech that he remembers? All right. Yeah. Listen, Sally, they were an item. So you need to be sensitive with this because, number one, it's not acceptable right now. you know, in your era. It certainly was not that speech. That speech sucked.
Well, that threw it right into our laps.
What did he put in your lap?
Bob Corby was a hero to every kid in school. And if
Are you sure that the other kids at the school felt the same way that you felt about it? Because I didn't think that speech was that good.
he said the whole student body was a part of the team, well, we weren't going to let Bob Corby down.
Okay.
Those were the weeks when school spirit began to mean more than just noise. If an opposing team member was
That chick left. She's like, I'm out of here.
shooting a free throw, we all kept quiet to give him a chance to make it good.
I mean, do whatever you want, but the other team's not going to do that for you.
When Bob fouled out in the last minutes with the score tied, we didn't jeer the referee. We concentrated
Damn it,
on
Bob.
supporting the players who were still in. That's what Bob was doing.
Yeah, you have a crush on Bob.
We all had a new idea of good sportsmanship that all of us wanted to live up to.
You got this all from this speech?
And it was heading us straight toward the championship. Lawrence High was rated one of the top teams in the state. And that's when it happened. Right in the middle of the season, halfway to the championship, Bob got sick.
I bet you didn't see this coming.
Really sick.
Call Rachel Hollis because you didn't see this coming.
He was the spark plug of the team.
What a 1950s thing to say.
With him gone, we didn't know whether the team would fold or not.
You don't have any other players?
What really happened was that it worked just the opposite way.
She's really mastered like the doughy, you know, off into the distance look like this, like the sparrow face basically.
People got to thinking about Bob in the hospital, and everybody became more determined than ever to carry on with what Bob had started.
Did everybody or just you?
Coach never said, we've got to win this one for old Bob.
He's not old.
He was too smart for that. He knew. That's what we were all thinking anyway. Well, there was no foolishness at all after that.
I highly doubt that out of high school.
Everyone got behind the team in the way that it counted.
Yeah, we already talked about you getting behind the team when we talked about why you were always on top. I get it. We got it. You don't have to go over it over and over again.
Not calling attention to ourselves, but letting them know we were for them. And you know, it was a thing that carried over into every classroom. Because when you get right down to it, a classroom is a kind of team too.
No. Nope.
Students and teachers.
Wow, that dummy is very interesting.
Working together to accomplish something. If you look at it that way, you realize that there isn't anybody more on your side than the teacher is, whatever class you're in.
Bullshit. I had so many teachers who were categorically not on my side. I mean, it's not, you know, it's certainly not because I asked like rude or like, you know, flippant questions or anything. It's totally not.
The more we got behind them, the more we realized that Lawrence had his...
All right, you have a weird thing going on with this school, okay?
good a faculty as any school.
Yeah, that's because you have money.
They were teaching a full day's schedule and then taking on other jobs for the good of the school.
Yeah, that's their job.
Jobs like helping plan constructive assemblies and working with intramural sports and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, I mean, the school district isn't going to just let them, coast on by just doing like the stuff for the school day, because then you're going to look like you're not a team player. And then they're going to, they're gonna be like, and then all the other teachers are going to get whatever benefits that you could have gotten, because they're going to pick them.
And we didn't want just the teachers doing things for the good of the school. We wanted to do them ourselves.
Okay.
Enrollments in debate and dramatics and science clubs jumped way up.
All because of the speech? Where did this come from?
Before long, we were as proud of our scholarship and extracurricular ratings as we were of our other victories. One student won a National Merit Scholarship that year, and everyone in school felt a personal pride in his accomplishment.
Okay, well, as a National Merit Scholar myself, that would seriously piss me off. Why are you feeling pride for what I did in spite of having to go to this damn school with all of you people?
When visitors from other schools dropped into Lawrence, I guess they could see that the building wasn't the newest or the biggest in the state, but that didn't matter.
It mattered that it was the nicest, with the most resources and the best paid teachers.
We knew any school would probably trade their shiny new buildings for what we had.
Okay, you know that even poor schools can get new buildings, right? But that doesn't replace, the other support that comes from having a lot of money.
The reputation of being the best school in the state.
And the most annoying school in the state, I might add.
Boy, I'll never forget the championship game that year.
Okay, this is so weird. You're not even on the team, dude.
The cheerleaders had knocked themselves out on new yells and routines, and the new stuff sparked the whole cheering section.
Sally, your cousin is a goober.
There wasn't an empty seat in the house. The whole student body turned out, even though...
Yeah, it seems like you were like right up front there, and you might need to chill out, dude. You're not even on the team.
The sports writers favored Washington High to beat us by at least 8 points.
Okay, what sports writer is predicting the outcome of high school basketball?
After all, we didn't have Corby. That's what they thought.
Yeah, fuck what you thought.
Should have seen them. Every man on the team was an inspired ball player.
Okay, I would hope.
He had to be. Washington High...
Yeah, because you have to play basketball.
...didn't stand a chance.
What the fuck?
I was on the student council that year.
Yeah, notice how you were on the student council and not the basketball team, because it seems like you forget.
And I was one of those who went along when we took Bob Corby the championship trophy we had won.
Well, Bob, here it is. We did it.
Yeah? You did it. Gosh, you guys were great in the tournament.
How did you see it? Did you think it was on TV or something? Because I'm pretty sure it was not going to be on TV in a high school in 1958. I mean, how do you know? All you know is stories. And honestly, right now he's probably thinking like, okay, so can the rest of you get the fuck out of here so that I can have sex with my boyfriend one last time? Because I am in a piece of 1950s media and I'm supposed to be a teenager who is sick. So obviously I'm going to die very, very soon because that's like a 100% death rate.
I'll never forget how you came from behind and walloped.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Him. I could feel it just lying here listening on the radio.
Whoa, that angle change was abrupt.
I knew just how the team felt with the school behind you every minute.
Man, dying people looked so good in the 1950s.
Wish I could have been playing with you, but
See what I mean?
I guess you just have to take things as they come your way.
Oh boy, the melodrama.
Anyway, I'm glad I was on the team.
Okay.
I'm just as proud of this trophy as if I'd helped you win it.
Why?
Thanks, fellas.
And that's when he died.
Well, I guess you remember what happened. There are times when all the spirit in the world doesn't help.
There are actually very few times where school spirit actually helps.
Sometimes you got to lose. It was hard to realize that Bob was gone.
So this is supposed to be where like the big reveal is, that he died. So here's the thing about 1950s like teen based media where it's a story taking place, with teenagers, is there's also the phenomenon in the popular music of the time of what are commonly referred to as splatter platters or death discs, where the subject matter of the song would be like something, and like Leader of the Pack is a very good example of a splatter platter, where they told her like, don't hang out with that guy, he's bad news, and then oh my goodness, he was so sad when her parents forced her to break up with him that he went off on his motorcycle and he died, and it was so sad. And so this is a very common narrative in the popular music of the time, because in that era it was not really considered to be something that was acceptable to show or have featured in popular media, any sort of like sex or anything like at all rebellious or that could possibly be dramatic or emotionally intense with teenagers. And so really the only thing you can really go for if you really want to have something be emotional and dramatic is like, okay, well, they have to die then. And so like, because that's really the only super emotionally intense thing that would be considered like not completely socially unacceptable to depict. So that's my hypothesis, is that this is sort of a like not cinematic, but this is sort of a film version of the splatter platter. Also, have some sympathy because, it's hard to lose a boyfriend to a mysterious illness that just suddenly kills you.
But in the end, he'd shown us something else. He'd shown that you can lose like a champion too.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful the way you feel about him, Jimmy.
It's just, I didn't realize that you were into that.
But I think you're all wrong.
She's like, yeah, well, sorry about your dead friend. I think you're full of shit. Sorry about your boyfriend, but no. You're so dumb. It's money.
Wrong. Why, it happened just the way I
I'm
told you.
not saying that the order of events isn't true.
She's just like, no. No. This emotional shit about your dead friend, I'm so done with it.
I'm just saying that you're wrong to give Bob Corby all of the credit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can all... Whew, she's the champion of throwing shade at the dead. She's like, where's Bob Corby's grave? Let's go have a sock hop there, right there, this instant.
Was Bob? All those things he said.
Somebody says almost the very same thing at every pep assembly.
I love her. I love her so much. I see what the first guy was seeing in her.
Making that much difference. Why, every school has one thing or one person to be proud of, the way you're proud of Bob Corby. But how many of them carry it any further?
I think your cousin carried it further.
They would have, if they'd known Bob.
There are kids at Lawrence now who never knew Bob Corby. Oh, can't you see?
Can't you see that your friend's death doesn't mean anything? His life was completely meaningless.
The spirit was there all the time.
See? You didn't have to sacrifice your friend Bob Corby. I know that you think that his death meant a lot to you, but it actually doesn't mean jack shit.
It wasn't all his doing that brought it out.
You're missing the point.
No,
Yeah, all right. I mean, I kind of agree with her, but like, I think she is missing the point here. It's like, you know, this is helping him process the loss that he's experienced. So like, you know, maybe just let him have it. You know, just let him have it. It's okay. It's not the biggest deal, okay? You don't have to lecture him about property taxes.
I'm not. I'm closer to it than you are.
Definitely don't want to have her at a funeral.
If what you have at Lawrence depended on Bob Corby, it would have died when he did.
Finish him.
Oh shit. That was the first time anyone actually said the word died. You know, your friend, he's dead. Your friend died. Your friend died. We haven't said the word death yet, so maybe you're not comfortable with it, but let me just say it here. That school spirit would have died like he did. Your friend's dead. Fuck.
But it hasn't. It had to be all of you.
All right, well, you know, listen, Sally, I'm just, you know, I just felt like I had really worked through this loss in a way that worked for me, but clearly you're correct.
Well, how can you argue with a woman?
Just the way you just were. You can actually argue with her the same way that you can argue with a man.
But I did argue with her. I argued with her for hours.
It's all right. It's all right. You can share your feelings here. We won't shut you down. Or, you know, if you want, we can leave so that you can just, you know.
But you know,
He's like, oh, is that a camera?
since then I've been wondering more and more. Is Sally right?
Wow, the lighting is perfect. Did you see how he was in shadow and then comes forward into it? Yeah.
Was Bob Corby really less important than I thought to Lawrence High?
It seems like he was really important to you. So that's okay. All right? It's all right. We're not Sally.
Or was it Lawrence High that made Bob Corby important?
Are we just shitting all over this guy now?
Can any school build our kind of school spirit if it looks around to see all the things it has to be proud of?
Or do they need to kill the captain of their basketball team?
And then supports them? Win, lose, or draw?
Draw?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you do have to have a basketball player die.
What do you think?
I think that in the 1950s, it clearly took a lot more time to, circumlocute around the fact that you had a crush and a potentially sexual relationship with the captain of the basketball team. Not that I'm not proud of you, I am. So now you know how to have school spirit, although they didn't really explain how to have school spirit if everybody on your basketball team stays alive through high school. So hopefully, one of those diseases comes around and just one of them. Hopefully a one that's that seems eloquent, but like he's not actually eloquent. He's only eloquent because you really have the hots for him. So I hope that you will all go out there and show your school spirit, be true to your school. All right. 'Cause I've been Mac. Peace out. Bye.